So first off, of course, huge welcome to everyone today. This is the Virtual College Exploration for all Pennsylvania students, sponsored by the Pennsylvania Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Thanks for joining. Very quick housekeeping before we get started. Please feel free to use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and your microphone are off, so our presenter today cannot see or hear you. And this is just one of our many different sessions happening. We'd love for you to check out the full schedule at pacac.org. And this presentation is being recorded and it will be available within about a week at that same website, pacac.org. And with that, it is my absolute pleasure to turn it over to Chelsea.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Chelsea, and I'm an admissions counselor at Arcadia University. Depending on where you are in Pennsylvania, I am your admissions counselor specifically, but I've also might not be. I might just be this random admissions counselor whose face you're staring at right now. But please don't hesitate to ask any questions throughout the process, whether about the application process itself, or I said something and it didn't make a lot of sense, or whatever I said just brought another question to mind. This is really all about you and just learning more about what's most relevant to you. So that's kind of how I'll take this. So in addition to being an admissions counselor, I'm also a graduate from Arcadia. I graduated in 2018, so it's very near and dear to my heart. So I can also speak to this as a student, not just as a professional working there. So who we are, so we're located in Glenside, Pennsylvania. It's just outside of North Philly. It's literally like the last street in the Philadelphia zip code ends, and we're 4 streets back. So we're really close. In terms of getting into Center City for exploring for internships or just fun on the weekends, it's about a 20 to 30 minute train ride depending where you're going. So you have the perks of living close to a city, but you don't have the traffic. You have better parking spaces, a little better air quality. But kind of the best of both worlds. Glenside is a really cute suburban town. We have food truck festivals and different fall festivals. The immediate Glenside community is just a short walk from the campus itself. And we have a really great relationship with all of the restaurants and the stores there. So you get discounts as a student. If you go to the Dunkin' Donuts right beside the school at like 9 p.m., they give you all the rest of the free donuts, which helps with your freshman 15, but it's also just a fun experience. But just a really great area in terms of like also just getting a part-time job or just grabbing a dinner with your parents when they come to visit you. So in terms of the number of students, so we are a small private liberal arts university. So this year we have about 2,000 undergraduate students, about 1,300 graduate students. So what that means is that it's small enough that you'll recognize people everywhere you go, but you don't know everybody. And I don't know about you and what you're looking for. But for me, I wanted a place to really be able to find my group of friends. A joke was that I'm not looking for my groom, I'm looking for my bridesmaids. It's really easy to find your people and just have this kind of family feel at Arcadia. Since you're going to be there for 4 years for your undergrad degree, so you might as well get comfortable. About 12 to 1 student to faculty ratio. So with this, your professors know your name, you're more than enough. You're not just a number. So whether it's stopping by their office for office hours just to talk about a project coming up because you're not sure about something, or just venting about your roommate or something else going on at home, they're always a listening ear and they have their doors open to you. I think of my thesis advisor who her office hours and my schedule didn't line up. And so we met on a random Thursday at Easton Cafe on campus. And that's where we met to talk about my thesis each week. If in terms of getting internships, they're excellent references, or getting jobs afterwards, and even just being in the classroom and getting internships. Like my sophomore year, one of my professors said, "Hey, you have great grades, you really understand the material, and you have a decent personality. Can I recommend you to one of my colleagues in the field?" And it's like, yes, that would be great, thank you. But they just really have this good rapport with you. So in terms of life after college, they're just really supportive and leading you through that way. Your average class size is about 14. So for whatever you're interested in, students, whether it's biology, so anything in the sciences, anything in history and political science, the arts, education, anything like that. Maybe your introductory course will have about 25 to 30 students, but then after that, you're going to have about 14 students in the classroom. So again, just emphasizing the fact that you're more than a number and you have really great additional attention from these professors. We do have more than 65 fields of study, and so and it's a very flexible curriculum. So whether you want to major in biology, but you have a love for creative writing, or you have a love for law or forensic science, or just something different, you're really easily able to combine those two as a major and minor, and then still graduate within your 4 years. Because you know, dealing with finances and student loans, you don't want to go any more than that 4-year undergrad. If it happens, it does happen. But being able to pursue what you love and still graduate on time is really important. But you're not just in the classroom this whole time. So you can be one of our athletes. So if any of you are interested in being recruited for one of our 26 athletic teams, please don't hesitate to throw something in the Q&A with a question about that. Our two newest sports are men and women's ice hockey, which will be starting this upcoming year, and esports was added last year. But if you don't want to play on our varsity team specifically, you just want to play for fun, we normally have about 15 intramural or recreational teams that will occur during the year, and we'll use the facilities. We actually have a totally new state-of-the-art athletic center, which is that top right picture. I think this was taken before the renovations, but it's absolutely beautiful. We finished it in February, and then COVID happened and we didn't get to use it, but super excited to use it coming up soon. We have over 60 clubs and organizations on campus, and everything from rock climbing to Hillel, our Jewish society, to ones related to your major like Spanish club or biology club. There's just so many different ways for you to get involved. And whether it's, you know, developing your leadership abilities with like student government, or being an orientation leader, a resident assistant, or attending like our leadership specific workshops. There are a lot of ways for you to develop that. And again, just enhance your 4 years at school. And if there's ever a club that you want to see but we don't have, you're more than welcome to start your own club. You just need you and 6 other friends, which you can make these friends during your orientation experience. And then a staff or a faculty member to be your advisor, and you're good to go and you have this new club. Between my 4 years of undergrad, we actually saw 15 new clubs created, and they're still alive today, which is cool to see. Again, whatever you're passionate about, we support it, we encourage it, and we want you to go forward that way. And lastly, housing is guaranteed for all 4 years. You have the options of living in the castle your first year. So if you, I'll show the castle on another slide, but you live on the 3rd floor. My office is on the 2nd, so when you walk down to your class, you know, wave and say hi. You can live in traditional housing, which a traditional dorm is everything that you see on TV. So, you know, 2 people in a room, bed, desk, dresser, that's it, on a hall with a lot of other people. You can live in our suite style setup, which is between 5 and 8 people in a suite. And then each suite has its own common living space and, you know, bathroom. And then as an upperclassman, you can live in our apartment complex. You can't see me, I'm about 5 foot, but it takes me 7 minutes to walk to the off-campus apartment complex. So do with that what you will, but it's right nearby. It's room between 2 and 4 people in an apartment. So again, housing's guaranteed all 4 years, and that's just helpful for you. If you ever want to live off campus, you're more than welcome to, and there are a lot of other apartments, apartment complexes, and other housing options for you. So we are ranked in study abroad. We are nationally ranked. If you have any interest in studying abroad at all, feel free to drop in the Q&A where you'd like to go. But it's kind of like anywhere that you'd want to go, you envision yourself, you know, having this experience, we have a program for this. And I think it's important to note that with studying abroad, it's not just this 1 year thing and everybody has to do 1 year, because I think that'd be really intimidating. Like I think back to when I was in high school, and that was my thought of what study abroad looked like. And that was definitely not something that I was interested in at all. So with this, we have programs where you can just go abroad for a single week with preview. So the spring of your freshman year, you take a 2-credit class. So you'd meet with this class once a week for maybe 2 hours. And then over spring break, you go abroad to the country of your choice with your 2 professors and your classmates. So if you've never had a passport before, we help you get it. If you've never flown before, we're there to hold your hand. But you go abroad just for this single week experience, and it can be anything from sustainability and tourism in Costa Rica to post-apartheid life in South Africa, to the development of architecture in Shanghai. I actually did that last one. And it's nothing to do with your major. It's just for fun, just helping you, again, preview the world. You could also do either a 2 to 4 week course, where you go abroad after finals in the spring. You can do a summer abroad or a summer internship. Like I had a student last summer who spent the summer at a research facility working with coral reef research. You can do, another student was working on Brexit, helping to write that policy with a member of parliament. You can do a semester abroad, or you can do an academic year abroad. So again, really anything that you want to do, you're able to do. And your advisors work with you to make sure that the place that you're going makes the most sense for your academic path. But your financial aid travels with you and your credits will travel back. So it's not like a wasted semester or like a fun semester, as some people call it. So in terms of some special admit programs, so we do review for these while we're reviewing you for admission to Arcadia. So with this, like honors is not honors like in high school where you're taking a more rigorous course. It's a differential type of learning and is very much leadership focused. College to Career Scholars looks at gaining additional internships during your time as an undergraduate student, which you're able to have more internships as an undergraduate as well. This is just a very specific program looking at that. And if you meet other requirements, I believe there's a $500 stipend they give you at the end of your 4 years. Civic Scholars looks at those who are wanting to bring about social change on the campus and in the nearby area. SAGE is specifically for our students who are going into the education field. FISI is our first year study abroad experience where you spend the second semester of your first year in London, England. And then SciSci is the first semester of your second year where you'd have one of 4 options that work specifically with your major. Lastly, we have Gateway to Success, which is just for students who need a little extra help before starting in the fall at Arcadia. So in terms of the application, so if any of you are on the Common App, that's perfect. Don't change what you're doing. You're doing great, sweetie. With the Common App, we have no fee. And if you're applying to multiple schools, which I'm assuming you are, save yourself the time and keep it all there. If you feel like writing multiple things, then feel free to use our Arcadia application. So that's the first thing we need. The second thing we need is your high school transcript and officially sent from your guidance counselor. So you just request that that's sent over to us. If you've taken any courses at a local college, you've done dual enrollment, or you've taken any AP courses, we do accept those for credit. But in order to do so, we just need an official transcript from that college or your official AP score sent over to us. The last official piece that we need is a letter of recommendation from a counselor or teacher, and we only need one. But if you want one from your counselor, because they've known you all 4 years, your English teacher, because you know they'll give you a great recommendation, and your soccer coach, totally okay. We'll accept all of them. But again, we only need one. This year we are test optional, which I think is really helpful for students because I don't think that single number is necessarily a good representation of who you are as a student. I think of a lot of students that I have that had test anxiety, or like with Corona not being able to test either once or twice, they just weren't as happy with their scores as they'd wanted to be. So whether you haven't taken the SAT or ACT, or you have but you're not happy with your scores, you don't have to submit it. But in lieu of that, we're asking for one of 4 materials. And it can either be a short essay just kind of looking at why Arcadia, why are you a good fit for Arcadia? You can do a short video, like I think a 60-second video just telling us about yourself. You can send in a portfolio of some of your works from high school, or conduct a short interview about 15 minutes with us, and that'll start later this month. However, the essay is the easiest one and the one that will get you a quicker response. So a lot of my students are going with the essay instead. And all that can be found on our site. If any of you are interested in pursuing a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, then you would need to submit a portfolio for portfolio review or conduct an acting audition. So while a lot of schools aren't holding in-person tours, we are, fun fact, so you can register for that online. And we have several days a week and several tour times available to you. So in addition to our in-person tours, we also have this audio tour where you can come, not necessarily meet with us in person, but drive through the campus and listen to the audio tour. You can also take a virtual tour online as well if you're just not able to make it out for whatever reason. But that's kind of the big thing that I wanted to share for you all today. So let me look at the questions that were sent in. Yeah, so a student asked if they can major in psychology and criminology. The short answer is yes. The slightly longer answer is that you would just really need to meet with your professor during your first semester at Arcadia and say, hey, these are the two majors that I want to pursue. And in that meeting with them, you really plan out your 4 years. So with those two, a lot of those classes will intertwine specifically. So that would be an easier double major combination than, say, English and biology. Just because of the foundational courses for psychology and criminology being fairly similar. But that is an excellent question. Let's see. Okay, I also just got another question asking about financial aid and scholarships. Yes, thank you. So with admission to Arcadia, we do review you for merit-based scholarships right away. So with that, we're looking at the courses that you've taken and the grades that you've received in them. And awarding them as such. So with that, you have them for all 4 years. And so whether you have a really rough semester or something like, happens in your personal life with your family and you have to leave, you don't lose the scholarship because of that. One, because that doesn't help you at all. And also we just don't think that that makes sense. So you have your scholarship for all 4 years. We have an additional scholarship looking at leadership and involvement specifically. So with that, you, whether in an essay or in your app, you're basically listing all the things that you're involved with. And let's say you are balancing school and a part-time job and soccer, or school and taking care of your siblings and Girl Scouts, whatever it might be. Talk about how you're balancing everything. If you help run if you're a leader in your church and your youth group and you're helping with an event coming up, talk about that process, but really just brag about yourself. And I know that's going to sound funny and it might feel uncomfortable for you to have to brag about yourself. So if you don't know how, ask mom or dad. They're great about bragging. And basically say like, hey, like, what am I good at? What's an area of leadership that I've displayed? And so that helps me as your counselor to say, I want to give them more money, and here's the proof that I can give them more money because they deserve it. So with that Opportunities in Leadership Scholarship, that is good for all 4 years as well. And once you're on campus, you can apply for several different scholarships. One looks at campus involvement. So I believe your second year at Arcadia, you can apply for that. And you basically write to financial aid, like a single page paper, and you write, hey, I'm contributing to campus life. I make it a better place to be. Can I have more money, please? And that's really how the conversation goes. So that's an option for you. And there's a few other ones that are academic in nature that you can apply for once you're on campus. So backtracking a bit. So you receive your admissions decision and you'll receive your scholarship right off the bat. Once we've received your FAFSA, so the free application for federal student aid, once we receive that, then we're able to create your financial aid package. And so within your financial aid package, it'll have your scholarships listed. It will show the 2 loans that the government deems you eligible for, subsidized and unsubsidized. You don't need to take them, but if you want to, you're able to. Any grants that we've awarded you, so that just looks at what money we have to give to you, and grants are free money. We love free money, students. So it'll show you any grants. And then if you're eligible for work study, campus work study, that would also be included in your financial aid package. So then with the work study specifically, before you'd arrive on campus, you basically fill out a short survey, just kind of looking at what you want to do. If you really want to be, involved in your work and you want to work as one of my work study students and helping with the admissions process, you're able to do that. and gain some skills. Or if you want to be able to watch Netflix and do your homework while you're at your job, then maybe you'd be assigned to like our athletic center and you'd be checking students in at the door. So they kind of look to see what you're looking to get out of it and assign you that way. So that was a great question. Thank you for asking that. So let me think. Okay, actually, there's actually one more question. So they asked where I studied abroad, if I studied abroad. Yes, I studied abroad in London for one of our semesters. I was in Spain for a year, and I went to China with that 1 week program. And I wasn't looking to really study abroad when I was in high school. I thought maybe I'd go abroad for a single semester and that would be cool, or maybe a short week program. But I did the short week program and I really loved my time and ended up studying abroad multiple times and still graduated in 4 years. Okay, another question. Do we have rolling admission, early decision? Great question. So yeah, so we are rolling admission. So as soon as we have your application, transcript, letter of recommendation, and either your SAT or ACT scores, or one of those other options I mentioned, we're able to review you for admission. So what that means is you'll have, as soon as we have all those things and we review, you have your answer and you can just sit on that. And you don't have to make your decision until May 1st, which is the national deadline to deposit. So I know a lot of schools will have certain application deadlines. Our first major application deadline is January 15th. So with that, that's for our highest level of scholarships and some of those special admit programs that I mentioned. But May 1st is across the US, the national deadline to deposit. However, as you're looking at other schools, it's really important to look at their own dates. And so with that, so you'll have your decision as soon as it's ready. You'll have your financial aid package in the order in which we've accepted students. So let's say that you were accepted tomorrow and we had your FAFSA back by the end of the month, and you would probably have your financial aid package in January at this point, since we've already had other students admitted. So you'll have that back. And again, that's just something for you to keep in mind as you're looking at other schools without needing to make a decision at that time. That was an excellent question. So any other questions at this time? And while you think of any, I will share that, I'll share my email with you all. So for any questions specifically, aside from just finding it on the website, my name again is Chelsea Rutt, R-U-T-T, and my email address is ruttc@arcadia.edu. So that's Rutt, as in my last name, Rutt, C for Chelsea @arcadia.edu. I check my email religiously, as do the rest of my coworkers, but they're all great resources for you. But if that is it for questions, then I just wanted to say thank you all for joining us today. Wishing you all the best in your college search process. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to us with any other questions that you might have.
All right, fantastic. Well, Chelsea, if you feel ready, I can jump in and wrap us up here.
Sounds good.
All right, so I'm gonna just share a very similar slide to what it looked like when we were getting started today. So, honestly, a huge thank you for joining us. I feel very sold on Arcadia. So when you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey, and we do really appreciate any feedback that you can provide us. This is, as I said at the beginning, just one of our many sessions being hosted, so please be sure to sign up for any additional sessions at PACAC.org, which is PACAC.org. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recordings, as well as all of the other session recordings, same website, PACAC.org. Thank you all for attending, and have a great night.